Welcome everyone to another edition of Rugged Outdoors Guide, and today, yes, you guessed it, we are doing a bit of a review. It's more of a side-by-side comparison of these two motors. One is a Minn Kota Endura C2, that's the smaller one, and the Endura Max from Minn Kota is what I have here. Now you can see there's quite a bit of difference in size, and that is partially due to the fact that the Endura C2 is a 30-pound thrust motor and the Endura Max is a 40-pound thrust. Now the idea is to see which one is kind of a better value for you guys and for what you need personally. There's a lot of stuff that's similar about these two motors, and by the way, it's a good thing that we have these here. We appreciate doing these reviews because a lot of reviews that we see online are just reviews that people research on Amazon, and they take, you know, comments of people and they say, well, there you go, here's my review. It's not a review, all right? This is an actual review. I buy these things, I stick my hands on them, and I put them through the ringer. So here we go. As you can see, both of these motors, I'm holding them like this just so you can kind of see the difference in size. And there's quite a difference in weight, and we'll get to that in a second. So there's a lot of similarities here. You can see they've got the same brackets, which are just like a really reinforced plastic. And the shaft is the same material. It's like a kind of a carbon composite. And then they both have telescoping handles, and they're both the same size handles. And of course they look very similar in terms of their shape and design, but now we're kind of nearing the end of the similarities. All right, the differences are also quite pronounced. For example, this is a 30-inch shaft on the C2. This is a 36-inch shaft on the Endura Max. You can see the size of the propeller and that whole area down there. The bigger one is a good size for using a, like if you wanted to mount your transducer for your fish finder, the bottom of it is really, it's perfect size for that, more so than on the smaller C2. The other thing is on top here, if you want to take a look at the top of the Endura Max, there is it's kind of a meter that shows you how your battery is doing, right? You can press it. There's nothing now, it's not attached, but you know, I'm not really so sure that I can get a lot of use out of that, given that I'm using a Minn Kota Power Center, which is a box that houses your battery, and it will give you even a more accurate reading of how much battery power you have left. So I don't really need this. This is not like a super extensive review, because if I were you and I wanted to see which motor that I might want to buy, I just want to get to the good stuff, the simple stuff, the like which one's faster, how much faster, how fast does it go, that kind of thing. So I'm going to hit on a couple of the things before we do our water test, all right? So one of the things that you guys got to be aware of is that the Endura C2 has a stepped kind of speed, like speed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It has 5 forward speeds. So if you want to look at the top of it here, there's 5 forward speeds. There's 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then reverse. There's 3 of that. I know you're looking at it upside down, but you get the idea. So that's with the C2. So that means that you can't go exactly what speed you want to go. You go what speed it tells you to do in those 5. All right, may not be the worst thing in the world, but contrast that to the Endura Max. The Endura Max is just, there is no clicking of speed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's just got forward speeds. It has 10, 30, 50, 75, 100. I guess that's percent. And you don't hear any clicking because it is infinitely variable speeds. All right, so, and then in reverse, it's the same way. So that's one thing that I really appreciate about the Endura Max. The other thing is that the Endura Max says that it lasts like way longer than this one would, even though it's more powerful. It has a different technology. I haven't experienced it yet. I haven't used them enough to know whether that would be a really huge factor in why I would want it. So I don't really know for sure. So there's one more notable thing that I want to just draw your attention to, and that is the weight difference. Now you're looking at the size difference, right? Obviously, if you're fishing from your canoe, which is why I bought these, you want to have the small one. The other thing is weight. Weight is a big difference. Now, between the 30 and the 40, that's kind of a big deal, but do you go that much faster? I don't know. I'm dying to find out, and I'll show you in like a minute. But the thing is, as far as the weight goes, I happen to know what they weigh. This little guy here weighs 12.5 pounds. At least that's how I figured it on my scale. And this beast here is 18. So, you know, it's a bit of a difference there, especially when you've got it on the back of your canoe. The last thing I'll tell you before we go and give it a water test is that this 30-inch shaft, even for me in my canoe, it's still a bit too long. If I could, I'd hack it down another, 4 inches or so. So to give me a 36-inch shaft on this guy, it's kind of, it's not working for me. In fact, when I was testing this out just a little while ago, I didn't really put it through any major test, just a mounting test. And this handle was kind of over my shoulder. I mean, how ridiculous is that? Who controls a trolling motor over their shoulder? Okay, normally it's kind of down here like this, right? So that is the thing that I'm not thrilled about this one, but that's just me and my boat, right? This is not necessarily meant for a canoe, right? So I got nothing against Minn Kota for it, but I'm just telling you that's what it is. All right, enough talking. Let's go on the water and give these guys a speed test to see which one is a better value. All right, guys, here we are ready for our water test. Now, just before I do that, I need to tell you about this canoe. What we have here is there's 2 of us in the canoe, and we've got all of our equipment together, not including the weight of the canoe. The canoe's 50 pounds. All right, it's a Kevlar, but not including the canoe, you're looking at about 350 to 375 pounds, probably closer to about, I calculated it to be around 370 pounds total weight. So, having said that, we're going to start off with our C2 Endura from Minn Kota. It's a 30-pound thrust motor, and the water and wave conditions is pretty calm. There's a little bit of a head breeze, like a headwind, but really minor. So I'm gonna do both motors in the same environment. So we'll have a head-to-head comparison. All right. Got my handy-dandy little speedometer here, and right now it says 0.0 miles per hour. And here we go. I'm going to start with number 1. Number 1, that's not doing too much. 0.0. All right. Number 2. I can feel a move. I mean, this is good for many fishing situations. 1.9 miles an hour. Number 3, we're at 2.1, and I'm on number 4 now. We're looking at 2.5, 2.6 miles an hour, and now I got it on full speed. Number 5, and a little bit of a breeze in my face, but not much by the way of water resistance. You're looking at 4.1. So it's I got it up to 4.2, 4.3 miles per hour. Now I got wind coming into my head here. So we probably we've cut down already now. Now 3.9. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn around, and guys, one thing that I didn't mention is that connected to this canoe is a set of pontoons. It's a canoe stabilizer kit that I have, and they are also contributing to some drag in the water. All right, so the reason that I have them on here is because when I'm fishing, I'm going to want to stand up, and I can easily do that with these. We'll do a separate review of these on our website, so make sure you check it out on ruggedOutdoorsGuide.com. All right, but for now, they're on here because they will be under normal circumstances, and I'm going to test the other motor with them on as well. All right, so now I'm heading back to where I started, and again, we're hovering right around 4 miles per hour. Right at 4.0, 3.9. Earlier, we had this up to about 4.4 at most, but right now, all I'm getting is 4.0 at the best. Okay, so I am going to turn this guy off in a second, and we're going to put on the bigger Endura Max 40 horsepower thrust in the same conditions and see what our speed is for that one. All right, so now I've got my 40-pound thrust Minn Kota Endura Max hooked up, ready to go, and my handy-dandy speedometer ready to go. And so we're just going to get right to it, all right? This doesn't have any stepped speed, so I'm just going to crank it up under the same conditions as the last one and see what we've got here. It's definitely more powerful. Look at how high it is. Remember I told you about that earlier? I don't like it this high, but if I drop it anymore, I'm too far in the water with the shaft, so it's a little bit awkward. All right, guys, 4.5, 4.6, 4.7 miles per hour. It's jumping back before it goes 4.4 to 4.7. So we're at 4.5, 4.6. I don't know if you can see that. Doesn't matter. 4.6. Oh, it hit 4.9. So I'm not really sure which one is correct, but I got the idea. It's a little bit more. Oh, by the way, this is creating an actual wake. Hard to believe, but this guy's got a wake. I've never had a trolling motor. I've never seen a wake from a trolling motor. So that's pretty awesome. So guys, we're looking at about 4.5. So what does all this mean? Well, this guy is a little more, you got a little more management and control over it. I do like that about it, but I don't like the fact that the shaft is as long as it is, and I don't need the electronics on top that tell me how much battery power is left. Don't really need that. What we found is that you've got about half a mile an hour advantage. That's about it. It's pretty clear that it's about that. In one case, it got almost up to, it went up to 4.9 for a few seconds, but then back to 4.5. So it kind of hung between 4.5 and 4.7 miles per hour. And the other one, the C2 Endura, was right around 4, 3.9, 3.8, 4. I think one time it hit 4.1, something in that range. All right, guys, so now we're left with the decision. Which one do you guys want? Well, obviously you guys can make that choice for yourself. You know the statistics, which one is what speed, and all of that, and you can look at the price point, which I'm not going to give you because that's going to change quite a bit. As for me and my system, as much as I like the control that I have with the Endura Max, I don't like this. How tall it is, and I can drop it, but I don't want to because it's just too deep. So for me, I'm going to go with the Endura C2. Again, I'm not as thrilled with the controls, but they're okay. But what I'm really okay with is, first of all, the price, but even more importantly is the fact that it sits much lower and it's way lighter. The difference between 12.5 and 18 pounds, by some measures that might not seem like much, but it is when you're hauling this thing around and slugging it on top of your vehicle, and you've got the stabilizer system and the paddles and the battery and your fishing gear. It does make a difference, and it's easy for me to pick up the other one from here and just kind of take it off. It's not so much with the 18-pound monster here. This one's harder. So anyways, guys, that's my opinion. You guys can come up with your own, but I'm telling you what to do. Do it. Just kidding. Right, guys, I need you guys to understand that I love being in the outdoors. Why do I love being in the outdoors? Because I love enjoying God's creation. I really want you guys, I want to encourage you guys to get out there, enjoy God's creation that's all around us. I'm on a small sheltered bay, just about 200, maybe 300 meters from the south shore of Lake Ontario. So I'm kind of sheltered here, but I can see the water not too far from here. There's a bridge. You can't actually see it from here, but I know it's right there. So I'm in the Great Lakes region, and there's plenty of God's creation to enjoy here. All right, so get out there, enjoy God's creation, and guys, keep on looking up.